everybody. Welcome to the Straight Outta BS podcast. Thank you guys for your continued support. Thank you to my Patreon members, listener support, anybody that's donated financially, anybody that's interacted with the video in any way. I appreciate you. Please keep up the good work. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so let's do that. And so we can get this out there to more people. Links are in the description if anybody's interested in supporting me. And I want to do a moment of silence for the person still struggling with intrusive thoughts or addiction. So on the count of 3, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what years.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Farrell. I went to Tranquility Bay, Jamaica. I was there from January 2nd, 2001 to the end of February 2002.
Okay, and walk us through your childhood and what led up to you being sent to the program.
Well, when I was 5, I was molested. I never went to counseling for it. I had an older brother who had a lot of mental issues. He's bipolar, so I was kind of like, pushed to the side a lot.
Yeah.
I was very independent, always doing what I wanted to do. My parents never really stuck to anything, so I kind of got into some stuff I shouldn't have. Not anything like terrible, just, I didn't have a lot of guidance. I just did what I wanted to do because nobody wanted to pay attention. So, started skipping school a lot. I didn't really do too many drugs as a teenager, maybe when I was older I did, but I smoked a lot of weed.
Okay.
Drank, the normal stuff. Well, not normal, but normal-ish for teenagers.
Yep. Okay. And what happened? Like, what led up to you being sent there? Like, how did that whole thing happen? Like, did they tell you you were gonna go? Did you get transported? How did you get there?
So yes, actually, my mom and dad or stepdad, they told me that if I didn't straighten up, they were going to send me to Jamaica, which that's all they said about it. And I laughed in their face, like, who the fuck? Like, okay, send me to Jamaica,
Yeah. Sounds like a trip.
And, right, exactly. And I had gotten pregnant. I had my first boyfriend. I was 15, so I had gotten pregnant, and my mom happened to be pregnant at the same time. And so she really couldn't do anything once that happened. It wasn't like a planned thing. I was just an idiot, whatever. And I ended up having a miscarriage. And literally, as soon as my mom found out I had a miscarriage, she scheduled the escorts. She originally found out about this because she worked with someone who had sent their daughter to Tranquility Bay. And he was just, very, yep, she's changing. She's all this. You've got to send your daughter there. If she's a troubled teenager, like, don't send her to one in the United States, because if she's affiliated with anybody, supposedly I was affiliated with gang members. If she's affiliated with anybody that could, break her out of there, it'd be better to have her overseas, blah, blah, blah. So, it was the weekend of New Year's Eve, 2001, and just about to turn through 2001. I was gone the whole weekend or week. I didn't tell my parents where I was at, nothing. I came home because I had a cold, and my mom gave me so much cold medicine, told me to call my grandma, which I thought was weird. And I went to bed, and then she woke me up and said, there's a woman here and I'm gonna let her take you. And I said, get the fuck out of my room, because like I'm not. And then next thing I know, my mom's gone, the light's on, it's a lady and a guy, and they're like, you can do this the easy way or the hard way. And I kicked the chick in her stomach, because I'm scared. Also, I'm all drugged up on cold medicine. And so I was handcuffed from Grand Haven, Michigan to Chicago. And then I think they unhandcuffed me, or she did, when we were in the Miami airport, because I couldn't run then. Like, there's no way. Where am I going to go? I'm in mismatched pajamas. So that's how I got there.
Okay, could you give me 1 second? 1 second. I just burned my finger.
Oh,
so I'm gonna go grab an ice pack. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Also, Mustard helps for burns too. If you put a little bit of mustard on it, it takes away the sting.
It does? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any mustard right now, but I'll keep that in mind. That's an
It's
I
a
never even
reference.
knew
It
that.
really does. My stepdad taught me that, and it really does work. I tried it one time. I was like, you know what? That really does work.
I wonder what it is about the mustard that does that. Probably a chemical reaction or something.
Yeah. Maybe the vinegar in it mixed with the mustards. I don't know, but it works. So try it sometime.
Okay. Thank you. And so you flew there, got transported. And what do you remember about when you first got there? Did they buddy you up with anybody? Did they show you any physical rule manual? What do you remember about when you first got there?
I remember everything that whole first, when I first got there, it was like midnight. The upper levels were up on the balcony. There were staff in the courtyard, and Miss Precious was there. You probably don't know who that is, but
I've heard of her. I've heard of her.
She was one of the big, female staff, and they throw you in a cold shower. They throw all that delousing powder on, like in prison movies. And I'm just like, I'm actually in fucking Jamaica. So they put me in Victory Family when I first got there. And I don't remember who my buddy's name was in Victory Family, because they ended up transferring me Monday when Miss Freeman got there to Foundation Family. And then I was with Katie Hop, which is the girl that she was from Michigan too. And my mom worked with her dad. And I honestly adored the shit out of her. I still do. She was literally that, honestly, even though it sucks that my mom worked with somebody that got me into that, like, it was a perfect fit. So anyway, it was devastating. I remember, yes, the booklet that they give you with all the rules, and you're looking at it like, there's no way. And then you've got this person telling you, oh, if you talk to this person, you get this consequence. If if you look on a line, if you look at the boys, if you stand, sit, anything without permission, you're going to get a consequence. And I'm just looking at it. And then the food, I ended up throwing up at breakfast the first day, because they gave us this green, like, porridge, which we never had again. And I don't know what it was, but it was so embarrassing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm literally going to starve to death. I can't. It was so bad.
Okay. And how long after you got there did they put you through your first seminar? And what was your first seminar? Was it orientation or discovery?
Discovery. And
interesting.
Let's see, I got there January, so February. I feel like it was pretty quick. I feel like it was either the end of February or March, maybe.
Okay, so
I mean, it was probably within the first 90 days. I don't remember if I had to do discovery twice, but I kind of feel like I might have had to do discovery twice.
Okay. And how was your program in general? Was it easy for you to get points? Did you try to get points but got consequence? Were you targeted? Or did you just say fuck the program?
The first 90 days, my God, I was literally could not get consequences at all. Talking, whatever, just at some points being like, fuck this shit, like all those emotions you go through. I just want to fucking go home. Why am I here? Like, this is ludicrous. I'm in a third world fucking country. All that. After like the first 90 days, I kind of started opening up. I feel like at first the girls in my family not target me, but I'm like fresh meat. So, you're feeling people out, and they like to say, oh, I feel like you're in your crap. You're in your crap. You're in your crap. All that stuff. And it's like, I just got here. I don't know. You don't really know you just not like, this is not right. The whole first 90 days. So after that, I probably started working it a little bit. But then I got a staph infection from the showers in my foot, and it ate through my foot. It literally ate through my foot, and everybody thought I was self-inflicting trying to go home. So they put me in staff watch or observation placement. And so I was on a mattress on the floor in observation placement for like probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks, just like damn near septic. Finally, when my fever got like real bad and they could see, like the people in OP told them she is not touching her foot at all. She has not touched it. And it's like literally eating through her foot. They finally brought me to a doctor and it was cleared up in like 2 weeks by going to the nurse's office every night to soak it. After that, I started working it a little bit more because I needed to get the fuck. I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I was only 15.
Yeah. Where did they take you when they took you to the doctor?
I feel like it was in Mandeville. They had
So
like,
it's like in town? They
yeah,
didn't fly you out or anything, did they?
no. It was almost to the point where they would have had to send me to Miami to get surgery if whatever this doctor's office didn't do. Because they had told my parents about it the whole time until it got this bad, because they thought I was self-inflicting wounds on myself to try to go home, which that shit was terrible. That shit hurt so bad. It was terrible. But it was an actual doctor's office. I don't think it was in Kingston. I think it was in Mandeville, because it wasn't in one of the actual like tourist areas, but it was still like way more cityish than where we were at.
Okay. I was just kind of curious, considering it was a staph infection and you said you were septic. I was curious if they flew you out or not, but it sounds like they almost did. Okay. How many seminars did you make it through your entire time there?
Discovery, focus, accountability, keys, and then I staffed two or three. I staffed a couple sets of seminars.
Okay. Do you remember your I am statement?
Let me see. I am a beautiful, loving, intelligent, worthy woman of God, or I think it was something like that.
Okay. And do you remember your purpose or what your stretch was?
It was Whitney Houston.
Okay.
I will always love you. Yeah, because I didn't have good self-esteem. I mean, when a person is sexually abused in any way by any person when they're a child, you grow up automatically just kind of feeling ick about yourself. Like, well, why?
You have arrested development, so,
Yeah. So that was my stretch, and it was basically just like, I am a worthy person. Like, you don't have to do things like, and I think a lot of it was, I had a boyfriend, I got pregnant, I was young, I shouldn't have been having sex that young, but it was, I was trying to find love. And also, I was always pushed aside. Like, I'm the one that got sent away, but my brother was, the one with the bipolar and with all the mental issues and with all this stuff that had gone on my whole life. But I'm the one that gets, shipped off and all that stuff. So that feeling worthy, that was my biggest thing, I think, and loving myself as a person, not worrying about everybody else and just worrying about me.
Okay. And do you remember feeling like high after you got out of a seminar?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, yeah. You literally, that's like the only, I mean, yeah, that's the only time you can really talk freely, to people in there, unless you're upper level or a level 3. But like, yeah, it was absolutely one of the best feelings.
Yeah, I haven't been able to replicate it, and I did hard drugs for 10 years.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Just that feeling of like, these people really understand me right now, and these people have gone through something just now in this room that nobody else. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. And that's a good way to put it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it too is, yes, we were forced to confront like our demons or whatnot. But then there was, and of course, I know there was a lot of people that was forced to admit to things they didn't do. But for people like me that had a lot of trauma growing up, being raped at 7 and a bunch of different stuff throughout my childhood, being forced to confront those demons, even though we were forced and we weren't choosing to do that, which would have been the right route to go when you're trying to heal somebody, is them choosing to confront their demons. I think the fact that they forced us to do that and we confronted our demons, period, is why we got that feeling. Because when you go, that's what this same kind of thing that happens in like therapy and counseling, if it's done right, is you should feel a weight lifted. You should feel like a little bit outside of your body. You should feel better. Like you should feel a little bit high. If you have like a really deep counseling session or therapy session where you really are connecting with the counselor and you're really getting some deep work done, you should feel high. But I still haven't been able to replicate it. So that's something that I've just started asking people, because I remember, like, do you ever feel high after the seminars? And some people do and some people don't. So it's interesting.
I've never connected that either. Like, because I came back and was still in high school. You know what I mean? Like, I never connected that, but there's no feeling like it. You're absolutely right. There's no feeling that can touch that, because and when I was sent there was the first time I ever dealt. And it was my real father that molested me. And I was still forced to see him, you know, still around, still whatever. So when I hit puberty, that it hit me really, really hard, like what had happened. But they never put me in counseling. So that me actually dealing with it in Jamaica, that was the first time I ever dealt with it, ever sat down with myself. And like you said, so many people, which I didn't know, which is insane, that kids had to admit to things that they didn't do. Like, that's literally breaks my fucking heart.
Yeah.
Because why would their parents do that to them? And then there's kids like us that actually went through so much shit. And honestly, our parents went about it wrong. But do you ever think about did you ever, like, being locked up was almost one of the freest feelings I ever felt, because I only had to concentrate on myself.
Oh, yeah. I totally feel that too. And you don't have to worry about heartbreak. You didn't have to worry about fucking people. For the most part, there was bullies, and I did get picked on a lot, and I did get beat up a lot. But especially when I got into the upper levels, like, you know, you can talk to people about what's going on. You don't have to worry about getting, like, you know, beat up or, you know, you're isolated from everything. So you're literally forced to confront your demons and, like, focus on yourself.
Yeah, and it changed me as a person, definitely, because I don't hold anything in anymore, ever. Since I came home from Jamaica, I will speak up for myself. It does not matter. I'll speak up for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, stranger or not. Like, I was so quiet about my feelings before Jamaica, and I am the loudest person about my feelings now. That's one of the main things that came from it that I could say was good.
Okay. And did you graduate from the program?
No.
Okay, you got pulled or aged out? Or no, you didn't age out because you were young still. Okay.
Yeah, I got pulled. My parents came for parent weekend that February. I just got done staffing seminars and just got done with my upper level seminar, and really they were running out of money. Otherwise I would have stayed there. I found out.
What makes you say that?
They spent $50,000 and they were out of money. I mean, my dad pretty much told me, had we not ran out of money, you would have stayed till you graduated or turned 18.
Okay. And let's see. Did you spend any time? You did spend some time in OP.
I was never restrained. I was never restrained. Thank God. Thank God. Oh my God. Listening to that, still, I'll never forget those screams ever.
I can only imagine. What was the hardest part about being there, and how did you handle it?
I might cry a little.
Fine.
I think the hardest part was just being removed. Like, even in my adult life, I'm the one that's, you know, oh, Jenny can do this, or Jenny can go without this, or, you know, whatever. And I'm easily adaptable, I think. And that's why people assume that. But being in Jamaica, I didn't talk to my mom on the phone for 7 months. I was literally still bleeding from my miscarriage when I was sent there. It was so hard not being, like, I didn't feel like a person, you know, like I'm just like an object. Okay, here she goes, place it there. And I cried a lot. You can say manipulated those first however many months. But the only way I got through it, I literally, and I know this sounds really corny to some people, but like, I would talk to God at night because I didn't know who else to talk to. You can't talk to anybody. I would literally have conversations. I wasn't praying. It was like, God, if you're there, you can hear me. Like, this shit's fucked up. Like, I'm here. I don't know what to do, you know? And then once I started feeling a little bit like, okay, I got to concentrate on myself, then I was able to make relationships with some of the girls in my family that I love, absolutely love. And they were some real ass girls. And I honestly got so lucky. I didn't have to worry about the shit that I said to them in confidence, getting back to my case manager or getting back, you know, like, that's the only way. I literally had conversations with God to keep myself in check. And I finally let go and was like, okay, like you've got to make some sort of relationship here with at least somebody, because you're always alone. You're always being pushed aside. You're always, you know what I'm saying? You've got to have some sort of connection. That's the only way I got through it. I don't know how else I got through it. Part of it's a blur, but at the same time, I can remember every second. You know what I mean? It's really weird.
Yeah, I totally feel it. Were you on any prescription medications before you went there?
No, I think my mom tried to make me take Wellbutrin at some point, but I stopped taking it. I was like, no, I'm not taking antidepressants, and I didn't end up taking anything. So no, I wasn't on anything. I just smoked a lot of weed, which I still do. And I was always real with everybody there. I'm going to smoke weed when I get home, so sorry.
Yeah. Did they try and put you on any prescriptions when you were there?
No, not that I remember.
Okay. And what was the most fucked up thing you heard about or saw there? And was there anything positive about your experience? You kind of listed one, but
well, I was there when Valerie Herring committed suicide. She was in my family. And we were in the classroom, and she asked to go get a book, and her and her buddy stood up, and we were all kind of gathered because our classrooms at that point were on the roof. They hadn't started building the new school yet, and that happened after she did that. And so it was probably like 3 feet in between the two classrooms, and she kind of walked in between and ran to the edge of the balcony, and she smiled at us. She was absolutely gorgeous. And then she swan dived. And it was fucking insane. And I don't think any of us will ever forget it that saw it or heard it or felt it, because it was all of the above. Also, this girl, Shannon, that was there, she was restrained so bad one night right after, shut down her lights out. They dropped her on her face. Her whole jaw was fucked. She's now has had feeding tubes, all this stuff. I saw a lot of crazy shit at Tranquility Bay. I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff I saw. My foot. But at the same time, there was a lot of good moments too. I mean, That sounds crazy, but some of these girls were the coolest motherfuckers I've ever met in my entire life. And like, you know, when it was hurricane time and we'd all have to be gathered in one room between the two families, and, you know, we're all laying there with each other, laying on the floor. And some of the staff were actually, like, some of the younger staff, when the older staff went around, they were pretty chill too, like those type of things. Or Sunday nights when we would get to go on the courtyard and have, it wouldn't just be fitness time, like we could have free time and we could play basketball or we could dance or we could do whatever. Like, that was fun. Or Mama King, well, she was my family mom. She passed away about 6 months after I left Jamaica. She would sing to us. You know, she was the best. She would do everything she could to try to make us feel like, you know, you're here, you know, but like you are still loved. She was probably one of the only ones that actually would use the love word, but I don't know. There's a lot of shit. It's like bad memory for good memory. You can do even toss up, you know.
Yeah. Okay. And did you get any credits for school when you were there, and did they transfer?
Only for art and PE. That's it. So when I came home, mind you, I only had 3 credits when I went to Jamaica because I didn't go to school. My best friend and a couple other people died homecoming night freshman year. They got in a car accident, and I think that's also one of the things that led me going to Jamaica, as I started drinking a lot more and skipping school because I didn't want to be at high school and all that stuff. What was the point what I was saying? Sorry.
I
Me. So when I went back to high school, I was in my second half of 11th grade with only 3 credits. So I had to go a whole extra year. No, none of that damn school we did was worth a shit. That was not, like, what in the hell? And I didn't even know that. But the art did, because they could actually physically produce like the drawings I did. And then PE, because we had fucking fitness 3 times a day.
Okay. And did you hear about any sexual abuse or grooming from staff to student or student on student when you were there? Or
I did not when I was there, but I heard about a lot of it after I left.
Okay.
When I was there, I heard there was a group of upper levels right before my group of upper levels. So like the ones that staff my seminars, they all got dropped for doing inappropriate things, but I never like was told like exact, like if they were having sex or what they were doing. But when I was there, I wasn't aware of any staff doing anything with any kids. But from what I've heard, there was a bunch of shit going on. But I guess I just didn't know.
Okay. And when you came back home, did they try and push a life contract on you? Which would be like, you essentially would write out rules for yourself. It's like a program at home. You'd have like points.
Yeah, they did. For about the first 6 months, I was threatened with going back. I mean, constant, absolutely constant.
Okay. And so that lasted about 6 months?
Yeah, that lasted about 6 months, and I'll tell you why. Because after that, I ended up being dumb and getting charged with 3 felonies.
Okay.
So I had, my boyfriend at the time was on probation. He couldn't smoke weed. So I ended up with a prescription pad and was writing them and turning them. I was selling them at school, and we met, turned me in. So then I was on probation, and they gave me the 7411 Act and told me if I didn't get in trouble, you know, whatever. But if I got in trouble again, they were sending me back to Jamaica and I would have a permanent felony in my record. Needless to say, I did not get in trouble again. And totally that was expunged, and I did not get sent back to Jamaica. But I would have been sent back by the courts this time, and I would have had to stay there till I graduated. Okay. So yeah, I got in more trouble after Jamaica than I ever did before Jamaica. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay. Well, how was reintegration into society? What have you struggled with the most, and what happened after you got out?
You know, thinking back on it now, I didn't have too bad of a time integrating back into school. I will tell you, it only took about 3 or 4 days before I was home, before I was smoking weed again. But I told everybody, even my case manager, I will smoke weed. I graduated high school, so clearly I didn't fuck up again. But I think because I had been an upper level for that so many months, because I got it in like November, I didn't leave till February. I think that kind of helped me, at least with the male side of things, being in classes with guys again and stuff like that. Because like I said, I went straight back into the same high school, straight, like nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little hard for me because of the memories of my best friend and all of that stuff that happened. But I've had a harder time as an adult after I became a parent, struggling with the after effects of Tranquility Bay and struggling with the effects of your parents sent you away. And I have a 15-year-old son who is in trouble at school a lot. He has ADHD and stuff. He's got an IEP, so whatever. But like, I just think I could not picture sending my 15-year-old son to a third world country and not even being able to talk to him on the phone for 7 months. This kid can barely go 24 hours without talking to me or seeing me,
Yeah.
So I definitely have had a harder time. Coming home to me was really not that hard. Growing up, having kids and being an adult, a lot more of that has came back to me, which is crazy, but it's true.
Okay. Have you told your kids what happened to you, or are you going to?
Yeah. Yes, they know. Yep.
Okay. And what do you think would have helped you instead of being sent away?
I think if they would have paid any attention at all, I think if they would have put me in counseling as a child, and my parents were very big on, we're going to do what we want to do. So whatever is going on for you is not going to affect what we want to do, type shit. They literally made me go get induced to have my last child. So, because they were going on vacation and didn't want me to give birth while they were gone. I mean, they are they haven't changed at all. We've been to family counseling. My counselor legit looked at me and said, "You will never get what you need from your parents. You need to move on from it. You can have whatever type of relationship you want from them. Do not expect anything." I think if they would have paid any attention at all, I think just having a little bit of more of self-worth than I had would have kept me from doing a lot of things that would have sent me to a behavior modification facility. But then at the same time, it was like what people were doing. So who knows? Clearly, there were kids getting sent there for literally just talking back at 12 years old. There was a couple 12-year-olds in fucking Tranquility Bay, a boy and a girl. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Literally insane.
If you could go back in a time machine and not go through Tranquility Bay, would you do it, and why, knowing what you know now?
God, that's an insane question. No.
Okay.
No, because I'll tell you that it made me one of the strongest people that I know, one of the most resilient people that I know. And it's such a huge part of who I am as a person, I think. I honestly don't know who I would even be if that would have never happened.
Okay.
Weird
And
to say.
yeah,
How many people say that? Do a lot of people say?
I mean, there's a percentage, maybe like 10, 15%, maybe. I don't know. There's a percentage of people that say it. Yeah.
I also, true too, because that's the freest I ever felt in my life. Just concentrating on myself. That's probably a big reason too. I think part of me might have not necessarily being sent to a third world country, but I needed that. I needed to be extracted and concentrated on because it had never happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with you having a more positive experience afterwards, you know, or like having a positive experience about things in the program like that. There's no problem with that because it's your experience, and you still
Right.
deserve to share your story. You know what I mean? Everybody
Yeah.
deserves. Even if somebody was completely pro program, I'd still want them on my podcast. I wouldn't let
I
them
don't.
spew. I wouldn't let them spew like
Right.
it's gonna save your life, but I would let
Oh,
them
hell
talk
no.
about how,
I don't think it saved my life at all. And see, when I say I wouldn't take it back, it's because it's made me such a
yeah,
strong person. But like, I still have nightmares, of being kidnapped out of my bed. And I would never recommend a parent sending their fucking kid away to a behavior modification program ever. There's so many more alternatives. There's counseling, there's family counseling, there's so many more things. But for me, looking back on it, like I just know I don't think I would change it. Would I have? No, you can't. No, yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that. No, I don't think I would change it. I don't think I could or would. So
okay, yeah. And I just want to say something else for my audience. I wasn't saying like, oh, I'm okay to have like pro program people on. What I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that I'm willing to get both sides. I want to have
right.
both
Oh yeah,
sides of my podcast. I don't,
because not
because you have
every
to
day
have
was
both
hell.
sides to make an educated decision about
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
You
And
know what I
like
mean?
I said, not every single day was absolute hell. I
Yeah.
laughed a fucking lot with these girls. I
Yeah.
laughed a lot with them. And I think I got lucky in the family I got. If I would have stayed in Victory family, would I have had the relationships that I had? Maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't have clicked with some of those girls. Being switched to Foundation family, though, man, there's a handful of girls in there I still talk to. I mean, it's like, yeah, but you're right. You got to get both sides of it because not every day was hell. Most days, yes. Every day I cried. Even the good days I cried. Every night I cried myself to sleep. Every single freaking night. I missed my boyfriend. I missed my friends. I missed my grandma so much. My cat. My God, I was so afraid my cat was going to die. I was in Jamaica. Every letter, I had to make sure my cat was alive. I was so worried about my cat.
Yeah, and that also doesn't mean because they added more, because they enjoyed parts of the program, that doesn't mean that it wasn't hard for them or that it wasn't difficult for
Yeah.
them either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, um, is there anything else you want people to know about your program, or anything that you might tell a parent thinking about sending their kid to a place like this?
I think that all the programs sucked. I think that anybody completely ripped out of your environment against your will and placed somewhere where you have no control is not the way to heal anybody. I think that if there are parents out there that are so desperate and so scared, like actually scared that their child is going to overdose on drugs and die, or, that type of stuff, there's intervention that you can get without sending them thousands of miles away. And I know that there's programs still out there. There's ones that are court ordered because there's a lady I know, her son went to one. Now he's in prison. Like it's real, and it doesn't help. It hurts more than it helps, is what I want people to know. I think that even though I had some positive experiences, like I said, as a grown up, I struggle with it so much more than I did as a teenager. That is what you don't realize when you send, because my parents, we were great friends the rest of my teenage years, my young 20s. Soon as I started having children, though, I realized how wrong that was to go about it that way. How it definitely is not going to heal someone. It's going to give them unresolved trauma because especially if you escort them out of their bed in the middle of the night and have them handcuffed, that's not good. That's very traumatic. And then B, you tell them you're here, you're going to be here till you're fixed, basically. I don't want to deal with you. I don't have the time to fix you. I don't want to fix you. I don't want to put in the effort to fix you. I don't want to do this with you. That is what will stick to your kids if you send them away. That is what I want parents to know.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And if you ever want to do part 2, just reach out and let me know and take some notes and we'll make it happen. And if you guys have watched this far in the video, please make sure you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and hit the notification bell for all updates. And we will catch you on the next one. Bye.